Hello, everyone. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to Andover. Nice to see you all. So many great smiling faces. I'm John Palfrey, the head of school here, and couldn't be more delighted to welcome you to the launch of the Andover Institute. This is an extremely happy day. We've been working with many of you for about a year now on this project. I want to, first off, just thank and acknowledge both Caroline Nolan and Eric Rowland, who have been working so hard to get this launch together. Thank you to both of you, and congratulations on making it today. I only have a few brief notes of welcome at the outset, and then we'll get right into the program. My notes of welcome really have to do with a series of thank yous. I want to give you a brief outline of the day, acknowledging all the great people who have come here to speak. We have a series of panel discussions, but we hope they will be of the highly interactive variety. There will be a chance at the end of the day where we will pass a mic for discussions for any of the people on the panels. We will not be doing long introductions of the panelists, in large measure just because we have those in a program that you'll get momentarily, but also just because we want to be talking about the exciting work of the future of education, so we're going to be getting right into it. I do hope that those of you who are interested in live streaming this from afar will be watching us and will be tweeting and writing about the program. We use a hashtag which is #ConnectedAndover, so please use that if you know what that means. And if you don't know what that means, ask somebody who does, who might be near you. SJ and a bunch of other awesome tech people who have joined us from elsewhere can give you the word on that. We have an incredibly full program today. We'll go for several hours. There is a break in the middle, which we will let you release from this room, but we'll also have at the end of the day a series of interactive presentations of the projects that our faculty have been working on, which will be out in a reception. One particularly interesting and distinctive aspect of today as well is our friends from ImageThink, who are going to be documenting this conversation. They will give a little wave over there. They are amazing. They do really cool work and will document the day in visual terms. So we will always have this record of your comments, and they have not planned what to do yet. This will be exactly and completely emergent, which is really fun. I want to begin really by two things, and then a series of thank yous, and then I will get to the business. The two things I wanted to frame were, in essence, the opportunity that I think the Andover Institute stands for. Many of us who are teachers, and I want to acknowledge the awesome faculty from Phillips Academy who are here in front and who will be coming in through the course of the day, many of us started our day by teaching a class in a classroom like Sam Phil over here, or Morse Hall if you're teaching math, or Bullfinch if you're teaching English, or in the Gelb if you're teaching science. And we began the day probably in a pretty conventional way. So I was teaching U.S. history about an hour ago and had a completely wonderful time. It is heaven teaching these kids American history. But it was probably something you would recognize, which was I was in a room that was about the size of a typical classroom. We had some chalkboards around the edges. We had a text. We were working on the age of Jackson. We were talking about the nullification crisis and the Second Bank of the United States. We've been read a really wonderful text, and there were 12 kids and one teacher, and that was it. And we had a conversation. We put two big topics on the board, and we had a conversation about it, much like Socrates would have done thousands of years ago in the Greek style. And across our campus, that has happened many times today. I'm looking at my colleagues who use different versions of this same teaching mode. This is an amazing way to teach, and it continues to be an amazing way to teach, and it will continue to be an amazing way to teach. No matter what we come up with, what we dream up with in the Andover Institute, that will continue to be a key aspect of what we do. And I believe so deeply that people will come to these beautiful campuses and will come for the residential education and the moral education and the face-to-face of education. But I think at the same time, there is a moment in history where two forces, particularly outside of us, one globalization and the other technological change, make possible opportunities that we never imagined. And people like Socrates and Plato and all those who have succeeded them in this great teaching method could possibly have imagined. And what I see the Andover Institute as is really an opportunity for us as a school, but really as a broader community. Some of our peer schools, represented by even someone from Exeter here, Russell Washington, who's in the house, and many of other peer schools schools are here to imagine what are the possibilities in this digital and global age that might in fact improve upon that model in various ways. So we'll talk about various aspects of that. Sometimes they have to do with technology, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just have to do with the imagination of teachers who could think about a different way to introduce ideas to kids. Sometimes it might be bringing kids to other places for experiential learning, as Raj Mundra does in the Neesworth program and otherwise. And we're imagining what could education look like if we were to be imaginative about it and we were to bring to bear many of the new forms of science and learning into one place. And we'll do this not on our own. We'll do this as a matter of partnership. And I think you'll hear over the course of the day these three themes coming together. One, the idea of connected learning and how technology and other things make possible new forms of learning. Second, learning in the world and how experiences for kids that are outside of where they are in the day-to-day can be so powerful. And third, how partnerships and outreach can allow us to do more than we would do before. We often think of Andover and many of our peer schools as private schools with a public purpose. How do we make that possible and exciting in a digital age? That, I think, is the problem statement in many respects for the Andover Institute, and I couldn't be more excited about working on it with all of you. And now to the thank yous. There are way too many people who have worked on today for me to thank properly, so I can't do it all by name. But there are so many people in the Office of Physical Plant and in my office and the head of school office and those in the theater business who have helped us. So thank you to everybody on the staff who have gotten us to today. There are also a whole series of donors who have helped us already in this project. Many generous alumni who have contributed to the Head of School Venture Fund, which we have piled into this activity in support for connected learning and support for trips and work for kids outside the United States, like the project I just mentioned in Neesworth in India. So there have been many who have supported it already. The Abbott Academy Association is an internal funding organization by some amazing volunteers from the Abbott Academy world who also have made a very generous series of grants. And we have a new grant from the MacArthur Foundation, one of the national foundations working in the field of education. And I want to thank in particular Connie Yao for making a founding grant to this effort. And before I introduce the next speaker, we have one final important thank you to acknowledge. And this is a big moment for us. I lied a moment ago when I said we were launching the Andover Institute today. We're actually going to launch something a little bit different. And I'm going to welcome on the stage in a moment someone who will say a few words. But one of the great benefactors of this school, and one of the great friends of this school as the former chairman of the board, Oscar Tang, has stepped forward also to do something that is quite wonderful, which is that he has given us a founding grant of $15 million. And we are today going to announce the Tang Institute at Andover. The real reason we are all here, of course, is the students of Phillips Academy and elsewhere. Thank you, Blue Keys, for bringing these in. Tessa, you look great in the new T-shirts. And Lark, thank you, everybody, for coming. And I hope you'll get to spend some time with our awesome students over the course of the day. I think it would only be fitting, before we go into our first panel, if we might welcome Oscar Tang, our great friend and benefactor, to the stage to say a few words about his idea.
This is actually quite a few years in coming, which I'll talk about a little bit. But this academy was founded 236 years ago with values emblematic of those of the American Revolution and the founding of the Republic. Reflective of the times, Samuel Phillips had high aspirations for this academy. We are all familiar with the ideals expressed in Andover's Constitution and its seal, such as, "The school shall be open to youth from every quarter, non sibi, not for self. That goodness and knowledge, united, form the noblest character and lay the surest foundation of usefulness to mankind." Successive generations of school leaders have interpreted and reinterpreted these founding values to bring us to this wonderful institution that we know now. Today, I want to focus on one other aspect of the Academy's constitution. In it, our founders expressed the aspiration, and I quote, "Earnestly wishing that this institution may grow and flourish, that the advantages of it may be extensive and lasting, that its usefulness may be so manifest as to lead the way to other establishments on the same principles." In other words, Samuel Phillips and his colleagues hoped that this academy would one day serve a public beyond the confines of Andover Hill. Ted Sizer, 12th headmaster of Phillips Academy, captured this aspiration in the phrase, "a private school with a public purpose." I've often thought of how this private academy serves a public purpose. Certainly, the foundation of this service is in the excellence and innovativeness of its educational program and the dedication of its talented faculty in stimulating students to achieve to their fullest potential. But can such a well-endowed program truly serve a public purpose if it is only selectively open to those of substantial means? Andover's commitment to youth from every quarter and our recently adopted policy of need-blind admission that accepts the most capable applicants independent of financial need not only ensures the best possible student body, but also is a prerequisite for our goal of serving a public purpose. To ensure true access, we need to continue to work on additional programs to promote inclusiveness on our campus. While providing access to Andover's foundational residential program is a necessary part of serving a public good, the richness of this program and the wealth of the school's intellectual creativity and energy has and should be used in the service of advancing secondary education more broadly in our nation and the world. Just as a research university enriches its own immediate educational program while striving to advance knowledge for all, we have the same opportunity to enhance our program by providing access to what we have to offer to the broader secondary education effort beyond the school. And in the consequent exchange, learn from others the best practices that will make what we do even better. For Andover, this is not a new idea. The excellence of its curriculum and teaching is projected in publications, conferences, and seminars. Beyond that, Andover has led in initiating a long list of innovative secondary school educational programs. Among others, they include Outward Bound, the Advanced Placement Program, School Year Abroad, ABC, A Better Chance, the Institute for Recruitment of Teachers, MS Squared, Math and Science for Minority Students. These innovations sprang from a community committed to excellence and open to individual entrepreneurial initiative. But a community without an institutional structure dedicated to fostering and incubating experimentation and change, nor focus on sharing the wealth of its offerings with the wider world. Arguably, this situation has served us adequately in the past. However, the pace of change is accelerating, and the explosion in information availability and globalization provide unprecedented opportunity to improve what Andover has to offer and to broaden its access and impact. The concept of an institute, a hub, built on exploration, innovation, and partnerships, is fully aligned with the mission of the school and the evolution of the academy at this time of major opportunity. Trustees affirmed the importance of such programming in 2008 when they resolved to make this work central to Andover's mission to advance the broader world of education. The 2014 strategic plan, within the context of creativity and innovation, has made it a priority to support and accelerate this important work. Access means sharing best practices, methodology, research, and pedagogy, and learning from and being inspired by other educators in a reciprocal partnership. It is in the process of this exchange that Andover, too, improves as a school. From Lawrence to Mumbai to Shanghai, there's incredible thirst for what Andover can contribute to an increasingly globalized and interconnected world. I'm so pleased to see Andover faculty conceptualizing and leading many of the programs that have formed the Institute's foundation, and look forward to their presentations today. As the primary architects of the PA curriculum and the minds behind innovation, faculty voice will continue to be crucial to the success of this new effort. The Tang Institute is the culmination of a dream that I have had for Andover for many years. I thank John Palfrey, Peter Curry and the board, Caroline Nolan, and the entire team that has brought this dream to this stage of initiation. Thank you.